crypto warriors, changing our world day by day. The way of the crypto warriors, can't rely on the bankers, no way.
Good morning, Bix Weir, roadrunner.com, coming to you from Winnie with your morning horn of Z's, your sip of chaga coffee. Actually, I don't have chaga today, just coffee. All right, big long discussion with Jenny Moonstone yesterday got me thinking about when this silver thing happens. Is it all going to be, is silver the last thing that's going to happen as we have the destruction of the old system and the beginning of the new system? I know that silver cannot be set free while everything else is still going. It's not a standalone entity. Silver is the bank killer. So yeah, it's got to be everything all at once. You got to pull the Band-Aid. And Jenny and I talk about when in the private road session yesterday, which is actually posted on the private road right there. Here comes the silver black swan. And also we talk about opening the undiscovered warehouse of golden treasures in the Grand Canyon. Those who don't think there's any gold in the Grand Canyon have not done any research on the subject. They were mining for gold long before white man came out there. White man. And then there were mining operations up until and including when Woodrow Wilson put the kibosh on any mining in the Grand Canyon. Right now, you can't take a pebble out of the Grand Canyon without getting arrested and strung up. So, yeah, there's a lot going on there. But, hey, for private road members, I put out the timeline. You can find that in the private road area. One of the keys to the timeline is China. And what was China doing? What is China doing? What is this Evergrande thing all about? It's a default, non-default. They won't play by the Western rules. Very interesting. It gets back to what I was saying in 2007. Back in 2007, when the Road to Ruta documents were first published, they redid a comic book. The comic book originally came out. It's called Wishes and Rainbows. Here's the original cover. And I was wondering, this is the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston. There it is, Federal Reserve Bank of Boston. That's Ruta right there. Why was Ruta Asian? And I postulated back then that everything will change when we go back to a gold standard and all the gold hidden all over the world is revealed and the bankers are taken out. Everything will change. And back then in 1981, who was the most struggling entity? And it was China. China had the highest population it was the worst of the third world countries. And then the bankers were talked into investing heavily in China. Heavily. And that's where we are now. So look what Ruta wrote in the sand when she was allocating the new gold standard, new gold to the people. She wrote this formula. It took me a while to figure out what this was. This is 1981. It's actually it's an economic formula called On the Road to the Golden Age. And it was written in the mid-1960s. Actually, I thought it was a Nobel Prize winning economic formula, but it did not win a Nobel Prize. Formulas just like it did. What it did was the guy who wrote this formula became a board member of the Nobel Prize board, the people deciding who gets the Nobel Prize. That's how important this was. And what it says is, what's the best way to get back to a gold standard when you're off a gold standard, which we were in the 1960s. It was a modified gold standard. The best way is to create as much fiat, unbacked fiat money as possible, soaking up all the benefits, build your roads, your bridges, your houses. Create money to infinity and beyond, as Buzz Lightyear will say. And that's exactly what they did. That's what the United States has been doing. That's what China's been doing. There has been zero effort to pay off debt. There has been zero effort to balance the budget. That is not even in consideration anymore when it used to be. In my lifetime, believe it or not, we would consider people who were in debt over their GDP 100% to be third world nations, and now everybody is. But it's really interesting that she was Asian back then. And then in 2007, and I talked to the artist, they changed the nationality to a muddled nationality. Looks more South American, I found it interesting. Not only that, but the only change they made in the original is the formula. Here is on the road to the golden age. Here, that's all gone. And what does Ruta write? 11 plus 9 or 9/11. This is why the bankers, the good guy bankers, are taking out the bad guys. Because of 9/11. We've had enough of this bullshit, enough rigging the market. It's over. And then exactly 1 year and 9 months and 11 days on 9/11/2008 was when everybody tried to pull their money, or the good guys tried to pull all the money out of the money market funds, and they had the run on the bank. So it's not a coincidence. Just let me tell you that. The road to Ruta theory is not a coincidence. It is real. It is happening now. So hang on to your hats. If you want to learn more about it, go to roadtoruta.com and go to the blog and look up educational resources. You got all kinds of stuff from the original Grand Canyon article, which is always fun to look at. You can just say, oh my God, tell of vast riches in the Grand Canyon. Billions of ounces of gold were found in the Grand Canyon. This New York Times article was written June 19th, 1912. 1912. People who have tried to debunk this are just ridiculous in their arguments. One of the biggest arguments, yeah, there was a lot of yellow journalism back there, but the reality is this guy was not lying. The guy who was in charge of this, Mr. what was his name even? F.D. Watson. F.D. Watson was not lying, nor was the guy who sent the steamship from San Francisco into the Grand Canyon to get the gold out. And people are saying, no, he was a scammer. He could say anything he wanted. Well, he ended up testifying in a Supreme Court case, Utah versus the United States of America, about the very, very same thing he was doing. He said, yes, it is a navigable river. We had billions of ounces of gold we were pulling out, but we were stopped by the government. This is a Supreme Court case. You got to do your research. Jim Willie was the worst. Oh my God. He didn't know what the hell he was talking about. I offered to debate him. He refused. His argument why there was no gold in the Grand Canyon is because his buddy was a river guide and slept in the Grand Canyon and never saw any gold. Oh, come on. Give me a break. Anyway, if you want to learn more about what's going on the road to Ruta, don't go to Jim Willie's site. Go to roadtoruta.com and watch these two videos, Secrets of the Fed and Golden Oldies to the Crypto Future. It'll give you a better, fuller, more cerebral understanding than, hey, I slept in the Grand Canyon and didn't see any gold. All right? Hey, I love Jim Willie. He cracks me up. But, yeah, no. Sorry. When it comes to the Grand Canyon, any day of the week, I'll debate the guy. All right. Let's talk about what I was talking about, Asia. So if it is true that the good guys behind the scenes who really control the system with the computers and the derivatives can end the game with a click of a mouse, if they really wanted China to get a better footing, since they had 1.2 billion people and we only have 330 million if you count the illegal aliens, which I do. I mean, if they're in the United States, I say we should just say everybody shut off our borders now. Everybody in the U.S. can be a U.S. citizen if they want. No more dual citizenship. My son's a dual citizen. I'm going to say, choose, kid, because his mom is from England. So he to play soccer in Europe, he could do it because he had dual citizenship, which was cool. But, okay, let's get to what's going on. Oaktree is a venture capital vulture fund, basically. The kind of people that China hates, the Chinese government hates. Oaktree scuppers Evergrande plan by seizing Versailles Mansion plot. Receiver appointed to Hong Kong development that was key to bondholder deal. This is all scripted. The guys at Oaktree are going, yeah, we got our property from China before they declared bankruptcy. Bullshit. This is all so China can say, hey, we're not breaking the rules. You got criminals like this guy over at Oaktree trying to take property on China's mainland. Are you kidding me? it is so scripted. Now China can blame the greedy bankers, and they don't like bankers. China does not like bankers. Let's get that through our heads. All these bankers who invested trillions of dollars in China, when China can snap their fingers and nationalize every single investment in China and shut their borders, which they are going to do. Right now, they're just playing around with this little tiny Evergrande thing for $300 billion. And the foreign bonds are like only $20 billion. China can say, boom, we don't need the rest of the world. We built up our manufacturing capacity. We have cities that we've built ready for this moment. Ready for this moment. You want to see some of China's ghost towns, they call them? These are fully built out cities that are just ready for the public to move in. They're like ghost towns. They're ghost cities. They got arenas, they got shopping centers, and there's just nobody living there. It's estimated there's 64 million apartments available. This is so much bigger than what Evergrande is. It's crazy. Look at all. These are huge, out, ready to go cities that have 0 people living in them. And they'll all be ready come the time that the Chinese shut out the rest of the world, which they are doing. They are doing. All right. If you think China likes bankers, China sentences top banker to death for corruption and bigotry. You don't get a slap on the wrist. You don't get to go in, a club. What would they call it? I call it Kinlay's Island. No, in China, if you're a greedy banker and you break the law, they kill you. Former head of China Hurong Asset Management gives no opinion for reprieve. Chinese court has sentenced a former banker and party official to death in the high-profile bribery, embezzlement, and bigamy case that has shocked the country. They don't mess around. So when you read something like this, Oaktree scuppers Evergrande plan by seizing Versailles mansion plot. Oaktree Capital, a USA company, has scuppered a plan to restructure Evergrande's $20 billion of offshore debts by seizing a vast Hong Kong plot where the ailing property developer's chair had intended to build a Versailles-like mansion. Los Angeles-based Oaktree this week moved to seize control of the asset known by insiders as Project Castle after Evergrande defaulted on a loan which the $158 billion asset manager had security, according to 2 people familiar with the matter. So this is all hearsay, according to 2. How are you going to seize property if the Chinese government doesn't want you to on their own land? It's not going to happen. Especially, they can blame now this asshole, and he was a Michael Milken disciple. These are the vulture leeches of the world. The 2.2 million square foot project was a crucial piece of collateral in a planned restructuring of Evergrande's giant offshore debt load. But the plan is now in turmoil after Oaktree appointed a receiver, according to one of the people. Project Castle was set to form a significant chunk of the assets that would facilitate the restructuring of the company's offshore debt, said one person. Evergrande has got the offshore bondholders to stop making noise on the basis there's a restructuring process coming soon. That land was going to be used to facilitate the restructuring. Oh my God, this is giving Evergrande and China the perfect out. It was these greedy bankers who came in and screwed up everything. It's not our fault for not paying our debt again. And by the way, I have seen nothing to prove that they paid their debt that was due on Thursday of the December 28th huge debt payments. And nobody's talking about that either. The rating agencies are all, they should be put in jail for letting this happen. The appointment of a receiver has to be approved by the Hong Kong court. Good luck. Who owns the Hong Kong court? China. After which the asset, quote, will be removed from the general restructuring of Evergrande, according to a second person involved. All hearsay. Evergrande announced on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange Wednesday that it aims to come up with a preliminary restructuring proposal in the next 6 months. How many payments are they going to miss in the next 6 months? So, more on this. Oaktree has previously reassured its clients about the ease with which it could seize the Project Castle development, according to a copy of the 2021 investor letter seen by the Financial Times. The letter said the firm, quote, structured these transactions with legal protections that would enable it to get the underlying collateral in a smooth fashion should a legal process ensue. That is such bullshit. I can't even tell you how much bullshit that is. China is not only going to shut out the foreign investors on the Evergrande deal, they are going to nationalize everything in their country for the good of China. The government has said it 50 times. We are going to get rich from this process. The moment they shut out every other country, what happens? They have all the manufacturing capacity they need for their country. They can move everybody into the ghost cities. They can prosper on their own dime. Yes, the Western bankers will be shocked. Oh my God, I invested trillions of dollars into China. We need to go to war with them. No, there's people within the U.S., the good guys, as I said, who's going to say, screw that. The U.S. is going to do the exact same thing. That's why I'm so against having mining stocks where the properties are in other countries. Every country is going to put a little hug around their own country. It's not going to break out in World War III, 4, 5, or whatever we're in. A hot war. No, the good guys are in charge of the shit. China can end the game tomorrow. Just say, hey, we're done. These are greedy bankers, these criminals, especially this guy who owns Oaktree. Where did it say? Here, Oaktree founder Howard Marks, a former accolade of junk bond king Michael Milken, has a reputation as one of the savviest specialists in distressed investing, where hedge funds try to extract profits from debts of troubled companies. Do you think China's going to allow that? That dude, Howard Marks, is going to end up like this dude. China sentenced his top banker to death. I wouldn't want to be Howard Marks if he's ever going to... He'll never set foot in China. They just arrest him right there. Or why not just seize his assets? His assets. Well, legally, according to the Western law, I've structured these deals such that it's easy to confiscate them in a bankruptcy. Good luck, my friend. Good luck. He's got caught up in a game. Greed is what kills the Western bankers. They're also greedy. Everybody flooded into China. Let me show you where just recently China relaxed all its foreign ownership of property rules. China property sector could see significant policy easing, says BNP Paribas, who invested massively in China. How much China debt is there? China's outstanding foreign debt, including U.S. dollar debt, reached $2.4 trillion at the end of 2020, up 4% compared to the total of September 2020. $2.4 trillion. They're going to default on that. They don't give a shit. It's the end game, my friends. It's the end game. And then all the factories built by Apple and you name it. Let's take a look at how many multinational operations currently operate in China. It's one of the world's largest economies with numerous multinational companies there. Restaurant brands like KFC, McDonald's, Starbucks have expanded rapidly. Some companies such as AT&T and GE have been in China for 20 or 30 years. Walmart, Target, other large retailers. Examples of large Chinese multinational companies include Livano, Huawei, and NIO. Massive amounts, trillions and trillions of dollars have flooded into China, and China's just going to nationalize them all. Why not? Screw the bankers. Screw the Western capitalists. It's exactly what China's doing right now. It's just on a small scale with this tiny little Evergrande thing. But they're showing the world exactly what they're going to do. They're going to take care of their own people, just like any country should. Take care of your own people. Globalism is dead. Globalism is dead. Anybody invested in another country, you are screwed. Because every country is going to nationalize. I've been screaming about silver especially. When Trump said, yeah, Mexico's going to build the wall, of course they're going to build the wall because they're going to nationalize all the silver mines. Mexico has been screwed by the world. 1/3 of all silver that has been consumed on planet Earth, about probably 55 billion ounces, 55 billion ounces in history of humanity. 1/3 of that, or more than 1/3, has been produced and mined and sold off by Mexico. Mexico has been selling the riches of the world for cheap, for nothing. You don't think they'll be pissed off? Yes, China will build the wall to keep Americans out. We got all the silver. Silver's worth 1-to-1 to gold, and gold's worth $10,000. That's $10,000 an ounce silver. And we got it. And if we don't want to give it to any of you people, we're not gonna. We're gonna reap the rewards of having this massive asset that the rest of the world stole over the last 100 years, literally, with corrupt government in Mexico, corrupt central bankers controlling Mexico. Mexico should be the richest country on the planet right now. But because of the corruption, because of the criminality and silver rigging, they aren't. And they've been selling their silver to the world to keep the prices low. Close your borders, Mexico. My God, how obvious can it be? Anyway, that's what I think is going to happen. You're not going to hear that anywhere except on the road to Ruta, because that was always the plan. That was always the plan. Run this fiat monetary system as long and as hard as you can, soaking up all the benefits. Create these ghost cities in China. Create all the manufacturing in China. Help the Chinese people out since 1981 when Ruta wrote this in the sand. And then when the time comes, destroy the old system, move on to a sound monetary system, probably using gold, silver, and cryptos. Cryptos was the new wrench thrown into the mix. No, cryptos are not dead. The only people who say cryptos are dead are people who never bought cryptos. But we've heard it so many times. I'm hearing it again. Oh, this regulation is going to kill cryptos. It's bullshit. It's all bullshit. They're all lies. All of them. Yes, China's going to be massively into cryptos. Russia's going to be massively into cryptos. The United States is going to be massively into cryptos. Anybody who thinks they aren't, go invest in silver and gold and don't worry about cryptos. If you can't understand it now, 11 years later, 12 years later, you're never going to understand it, and the world's just going to pass you by. That's okay. Oh, Bix, you don't understand. The U.S. government's going to come shut you down. No, the U.S. government's not even going to be around at that point in time, at least not with regulators that we know of them today. They're trying to regulate cryptocurrencies. It's the same as regulating gold and silver. That's the people's money. It's not your money, Mr. Government Man. Gary Gensler, get your paws out of it. We are going to be laughing at government entities that say this bullshit as soon as the monetary system crashes, because it's their fault. It's guys like Gary Gensler's fault that the COMEX is so screwed up. The stock market is so screwed up. Pure fraud every day. They shut down Reggie Middleton when he was trying to fix the problem. They are the problem. They're not going to have the authority to shut down anything. Screw them. You think China's going to allow the U.S. to control the cryptocurrencies? It's bullshit. We're free people. We're free individuals. Everybody is born a free sovereign being. And throwing regulations and criminal government on top is not a good thing. We're going to shed those bastards and we're going to move forward. Yes, everybody's going to lose their life savings in the stock market, in the bond market. Maybe they shouldn't have invested it in the first place. Maybe they should have done their homework in the first place. How many fake Apple shares are out there? Thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. It's all derivatives trading back and forth with high-frequency traders, such as Vinny Viola of Virtu Financial, who's the kingpin of doing it for the Fed. It's a joke, it's a con, it's a scam. And it's ending. And China can pull the plug tomorrow if they want. Now they have a scapegoat. They can say, there ain't going to be no national confiscation of anybody's property in China's mainland, especially not this guy Howard Marks, who is the epitome of what the people of China hate. The epitome, the people and the CCP. There is no way this jackass Howard Marks is going to be able to confiscate property in China if the Chinese government doesn't want him to. It's just ridiculous on the face of it. So that's where we are. You want more information on the road to Ruta? You You want to find out when Jenny and I suss out when the silver black swan's going to hit? Go to the private road, roadtoruta.com. All kinds of good stuff on there, additional Cliff High stuff. And if you want to check out Cliff High's latest private road, it's right here. The bad guy's next attack. Also have the timeline where I discuss this, although I didn't get as far as this is going. So, go check it out if you're a private road member. If you want to join the private road, hit subscribe today. And for joining, we send you 50 T-Fuel loaded on a paper wallet. This is something you put in your vault next to your silver, and you pull it out in 5 years, and you'll have a big old smile on your face. If you don't believe me, ask the people who got 0.1 Bitcoin 5 years ago from their Road to Ruta membership. We gave out 0.1 Bitcoin, which is now worth what? I haven't seen the price of Bitcoin today. Maybe $3,500. And I think T-Fuel is going to do extremely well in the very near future. So load up on your T-Fuel. And that's it. That's all I got for you. You guys take care. I will talk to you.